Welcome to the Yoga Sissel yoga videos for pregnancy. Hi guys, and thank you for joining me for this Yoga Sissel video. So this video is a video for the pregnant ones. So yeah, I'm about 22 weeks making this video, just gone past 22 weeks. And I thought it'd be nice to make a video just thinking back to how I was feeling back in the first few weeks, in the first 3 months. I did have my bouts of nausea and morning sickness and just coming to terms with how my body was shifting. But there was some days where I felt like I wanted to move a little bit more and move the whole body. So this is a full body flow. It can be practiced anytime throughout your pregnancy, really. But yeah, so of course, there's going to be some modifications taking into consideration the growing belly. And you'll notice that we don't want to put too much pressure onto the belly. So in the first trimester, I felt okay. In the first few weeks I was pregnant, actually, I didn't like leaning on my belly. But then a few weeks on, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then I felt okay resting on my belly. And then little by little sometimes I'd feel comfortable, I'd sort of play it by ear every time I got onto the mat. Sometimes I felt okay resting on my belly, doing like back bend on the belly, like cobra, and sometimes I didn't. So I'll give you some modifications. Listen to your body so that you do what feels really, really good for you and for your baby. So let's just take a moment. Sitting comfortably, you might like to sit on a cushion so that you're a little bit propped up. It can be really good and helpful for releasing the hips. Just a nice rule of thumb, you want your knees lower than your hips. Relax your hands somewhere on your lap so your neck and your shoulders feel supported, and closing your eyes. And we'll just sit here for 3 beautiful relaxed breaths. No force, no strain, just going with the flow. Breathing in through your nose, all the way down towards your pelvis, your belly, and letting the breath gently move out through your nose. Watching the breath with your mind's eye, following the journey of the breath in and out. And slowly open your eyes, adding on a little bit of movement with the breath. Breathing in, arms up, stretching, getting really long and tall, and then bringing your hands down. Feeling nice and calm and grounded. And then from here, we're going to come onto hands and knees. And if you need something to support the knees, like a folded blanket, do that. If that feels too hard, just resting on the mat or the floor. You can also, sometimes it can be helpful to fold the mat up a little bit. And then from here, hands about shoulder width, knees hip distance, toes pointing out behind you. Some people like to have their toes tucked. You can also point the toes and then pressing the feet down to the floor. Adding on the movement, the inhale, looking forward. And exhale, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. Maybe even trying to squeeze your buttocks a little more. You can help to round from the bottom of the spine. And inhaling. Heart forward. Gaze forward. And the shoulder blade squeeze. And then exhaling, rounding the spine. Tucking the chin. Making yourself look like the angriest cat in town, so really arching your back. Inhaling. Like you're trying to pull the hands back and the chest forward. And exhaling, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. Nice and slow. Moving as relaxed as the breath is moving in and out through your nose. And last time, exhaling. And then finding a neutral spine. You might we'll start with the right hand. So bring your left hand a little closer to the midline, sort of in line with your nose. And then inhale, peel your right hand up to the sky. Keep both arms straight. As you exhale, take your right hand across to the left. One more time, inhaling up. Trying to twist the spine, open the chest, and exhaling. Reaching as far to the left as you can. One more time, lifting your hand up. And this time, you're gonna let your right shoulder come to the floor, right ear. And we rest in this threading the needle pose. Still trying to reach your right hand as far to the left as possible. Your left hand might stretch out in front, then you look past your left armpit. Noticing if you're sending your hips off to one side, try and push your left hip back and your right hip forward. And we slowly come back onto the hands. Swapping sides. So your right hand comes more in line with your nose. And then we peel up with the left and exhaling across. But keeping the bottom arm straight. So we use a little bit of muscular effort first. Inhaling up and exhaling across. Inhale up. And this time we lower down, left shoulder to the floor, left ear to the mat. And again, you can either leave your right hand where it is or stretch your right hand forward. The right hip goes back and the left hip pulls forward. It's a nice little twist for the spine. This can also feel really good on your lower back. And it can also release a bit of that heaviness of the belly into the pelvis, releasing a bit of pressure on your bladder. And then we slowly come back. From here now, in case you weren't, tuck your toes, sit your hips back, keep your knees a little wide, and stretch your hands forward. Let your forehead rest on the floor. So I call this puppy stretch. We're still active, so the hands press down and the elbows lift up. The armpits reach down, and we try to lift the rib cage off the thighs. So a little bit of activity in the arms, fingers spreading. And then inhaling, lift the hips, look forward. And then exhale, sitting back. Puppy stretch. Inhaling, rounding the spine. So you move through an angry cat to your upward facing cat. And then exhaling, sitting into your puppy stretch. And one more time. Inhaling, rounding the spine. Nice fluid movement. And sitting back. And this time, as you come forward, rounding the spine, lifting the chest. And we're going to tuck the chin. And we're going to press back to downward facing dog. And again, here your knees can be as bent as they need to be. So if they need to be really, really bent because you're tight in the back of the legs, that's fine. Still, your arms are active. So the hands push down. Your elbows try to push up. Your armpits try to push down. And your rib cage tries to lift up. And then little by little, you might press one heel down at a time. You can come up onto the tiptoes. And then as you exhale, the right heel presses down, the left knee stays bent. Then lift up high, and the left heel presses down, your right knee stays bent. One more time each side, lifting up onto the tiptoes. Really good for stretching and pumping the calf muscles. One more time onto tiptoes, and press the right heel down, or left heel down. And then come up and maybe try and press both heels down. Pull the hips back away from the hands. And then very slowly we walk our feet to the top of the mat. Keep your feet hip distance, looking forward, and then relax your head and shoulders. Slow inhalation, rolling you up, knees bent, buttocks firm. Saluting the sun. And you're gonna roll all the way back down. And this time, you're gonna bring the back of your hands together. And you're gonna roll your wrists as you roll up. And again, bring the hands down. And we stay up standing. Good, bringing your hands onto your hips, adding a little standing and balancing. So bending into your knees, rest onto your right tiptoe, and then lift your right hip up as high as you can. So you're trying to squeeze your right hip to your armpit. And then inhaling, knee up high, and then press the foot down. Again, inhaling, knee up high, and down. And one more time. Hip lift, knee lift, and then you're gonna step your foot back to a long lunge. Soften the back knee, firm the buttocks, and reach up. So you feel a bit of a stretch into the front of the hip as you use the buttocks to push the right hip forward, reaching your hands towards the ceiling, and then interlacing your hands behind you. Elbows bending, shoulder blades squeezing together. Lift the chin, and then bow forward. Keep your hands together. Keep your elbows bending, and you bow to the inside of your front leg. Humble lunge. Press down through the ball of the right big toe. And then slowly lift back up. Releasing your hands. And then you spin your right heel to the floor, opening out Warrior Two. Bend the front knee without letting the knee come past your ankle. Good. You can even try turn your palms towards the sky if you want even more of a stretch across the front of your chest. And then bring your right hand to the right thigh. Slide your hand down the leg, reaching up and over. And then letting the hand circle down. Bring your elbow onto the thigh, and the right arm reaches out past your ear. And one more time. Warrior Two. Turn the palms to the sky, maybe looking up past the front head. And then we slide the right hand down towards the right ankle, the left arm circled up. And this time as you take your hand down, coming forward and lift the back heel. So you're back in your high lunge. And then we're gonna lift up onto the tiptoes and stretch the front legs. Then you're gonna bend both knees, open your arms. So the left hand stretches behind, right hand stretches forward, and then upright twist. One more time, come back to center, lifting up high, and bend and twist. And then lifting up high, and bring your hands to the floor. Step back to your downward facing dog. Bring your knees to the floor. And this is where you might still feel comfortable coming down to your belly for a cobra pose. My belly's already in my way, so I'm gonna stay on my hands and knees. And then I'm doing upward facing cat. And if you're on the floor, you might do your cobra. If you've got a more experienced practice, you might do upward facing dog. And then we all meet back in downward facing dog. One more time, coming forward, either to your belly or to your knees. And if you're on your knees, you might like to do a little push-up to build a bit of upper body strength. That's a little push-up or a big push-up. And again, we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. And from here, we walk our feet forward. Keep your fingers on the floor so your knees will need to bend. And then relax your head and shoulders. Rolling up to standing, big salute to the sun, so your hands circle out wide. And then rolling down. Exhaling the whole way. At the bottom, the back of the hands touch, and we roll the wrists, rolling the spine, rolling and releasing the whole way up. And then arms come down, hands onto your hips. So, the left side, standing on the right foot, left big toe on the floor in front, bend both knees. So your standing leg bends a little more. Squeeze your left hip to your left armpit, and then inhaling, left knee up high. You'll feel the entire right leg engage and place the foot back down. And again, hip hike, knee lifts, and exhaling down. Now prepare to wobble. Hip hike, left hip up, left knee up, and slowly step your foot back to your long lunge. Back knee soft, buttock squeeze, spine upright. The hands reach up towards the sky. Getting nice and tall, and then we interlace the hands behind. If you can remember, swap the grip so it's the other little finger on top. Keep your hands together, elbows squeeze, shoulder, or elbows bend and shoulder blade squeeze. And we bow forward, humble lunge. As you bow forward, lift your hands up. Using the muscles between your shoulders to keep your shoulder blades engaged and open the front of your chest. Whoa! And then slowly lifting up. Releasing your hands to the sky, and then you spin your left heel, the back foot, to the floor. And open your arms out, warrior two. Great rule of thumb is have your front thigh parallel to the long edge of your mat. Toes pointing forward. And let your back toes angle as much forward as they need so that you keep this front thigh parallel. And like we did on the first side, you might turn your palms towards the sky, open across the chest. And left hand, left leg, slide your hand towards your ankle, reaching your right arm out past your ear, deep side bend, and let the arm drop down, circle forward, elbow onto the thigh, and then reaching your right arm out past your ear. And you're lifting away from that front leg so you feel a nice stretch across the top of your body. And coming back to your warrior two. Pausing here for a breath. Keeping your buttocks engaged so your hips slowly open more and more. One more dancing warrior. Right leg, leaning to the back. Sorry, left hand, left leg. What am I talking about? Sorry if I've confused you. And then this time as your right hand circles forward, spinning yourself forward to your high runner's lunge. Good. So from here, we lift up. We stretch both legs, and then we bend both legs, and we twist to the right. Right hand back, left hand forward. And again, inhaling, lifting up, bend and twist. And then one more time, coming back to center. Bring your hands to the floor, and step back to your downward facing dog. Your legs might slowly beginning to release and stretch and lengthen, so your heels might already come a little closer to the floor. And then coming forward either to your knees or to your belly, and lifting the chin of the chest for your cobra, your up dog, or your upward facing cat. And then we'll all press back to downward facing dog. And then one more time, coming through that sort of flow, or practicing a little push-up. And we meet back in downward facing dog. And if you're feeling really gung-ho, bring your knees to the floor. Bring your elbows to the floor, palms down, and step back. So forearm plank, just to build a little strength. But if you have any discomfort, don't do this. You might like to add a little more right shoulder or right knee, right shoulder, and step back. Left knee, left shoulder, and step back. One more time, right side, and step back. And the left side, and step back. Knees to the floor, tucking the toes under, sitting onto the heels, puppy stretch. So a nice little stretch for the toes and the Achilles. And if you can, rest your head on the floor. And if that doesn't feel comfortable, maybe you rest your head on your hands. You want the head resting on something so it can feel support and the neck can relax. Noticing what your breath is doing as your heart rate or your breath rate increased. Just pausing here for a moment so everything can slow down and relax. And then gently pushing yourself up. And then sitting onto your bottoms. Again, really good idea to sit up on something, especially if you're very tight in the hips or lower back, or if you have any lower back issues. And from here, we're going to start with the right leg bent and the left leg out to the side. Right. So from here, and you can even have that straight leg can still be bent a little. We want to keep it nice and active. We salute the sun, taking the hands up. And then we're going to push the right hand towards the left foot and the left hand away. So just a little side bend. And then inhaling. And swapping sides. So the left hand pushes across to the right knee and the right hand pushes up and away. And sitting up, saluting the sun. Adding on a slightly deeper twist. So now we twist to the right. Left hand hooking around the right knee. And a gentle open belly twist. Sitting up nice and tall, so you use the hands to support your posture. And then inhaling your right hand up and over, and a slightly deeper side bend towards the left leg. And then releasing your hands, sitting yourself up. And placing both feet on the floor. Hands to the mat behind you. Feet are hip distance. Hands a little bit wider. Bend the elbows. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And then inhale, pushing your hips up towards the ceiling. Keep looking down at your hips so that you know, you can see that they're lifting up. And sitting your butt back down. So it's a nice way to build strength in the back of the body and open the chest. And we swap sides. So the right leg out. Left knee bent, but remember the straight leg can still be a little bent so it stays active and strong, toes pointing up. And reaching hands to the sky. And this time the left hand pushing to the right leg and the right hand pushing up and away. So there's just little side bends. And inhaling, the hands move past each other, pushing your right hand to the left knee and your left hand up and away. And then big salute of the sun, reaching your hands up. And our slightly bigger twist, right hand to the left knee, left fingers to the floor behind you. And as you twist your upper body to the left, try and twist your hips to the right. So pulling your right hip back and pushing your left hip forward. And inhaling your left arm all the way up and over as you lean towards the right leg. Both sit bones anchoring down to the floor. And then release your hands to the mat. And sitting up. Again, feet on the floor, knees behind. Bend your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades, and push your hips up high. Slowly bring the hips down. Crossing your right leg in front of the left. Walk yourself a little forward. You might like to keep the hands wide and just sway a little from side to side. Releasing the lower back and the back of the hips. And slowly, even if you're swaying, you walk your hands back. One more time, hands to the floor, feet to the mat, uncrossing legs, knees bent. Squeeze your butt and lift up. Open the chest. Push down into the feet, push down into the hands. The last one, you can do it. Keep your neck long. So avoid dropping the head back. And then bum down. And then your left leg crosses in front of the right. And you can stay up high, it's perfectly fine. You can just sit here for a moment and rest, Or you can walk your hands out in front, getting really low in the body, stretching out. If it felt good, you can do your little sways from side to side. So always lots of options, just feeling into your body what feels good. And then from here, sitting yourself up. And then you have deserved or earned your Shavasana. So you lie down onto your back. If you have any lower back niggles, you might like to roll up a blanket, place it underneath your thighs so that you're supported. If you're very, very pregnant, you might like to lie on the left with your knees bent and maybe a pillow underneath your belly for support. And during first trimester, you will most likely still feel comfortable lying flat on your back. We won't be here for very long. It's just an opportunity to let everything settle. Right here, you don't have to do anything at all. Let the breath flow in and out of your body on its own accord. Let go of any effort. Feeling the muscles relax. The whole body becoming heavier and heavier. A moment of sweet surrender. And you can lie here for as long as you like. When you feel ready, you might like to deepen the breath. You might like to move your fingers and toes. Sometimes it can feel good to stretch the arms and legs. And then roll onto your left side and let your head rest on your left arm. Your knees bent. And just pausing here, letting everything equilibrate. A breath or two. And then keep your eyes closed. You just use your hands to press you up. Savoring this moment of sweet surrender and stillness a little longer. And once you find your way into a seated position, you just rest your hands in your lap, eyes closed. A final moment to absorb what it is you need to absorb. Let go of what you need to let go of. And gently opening your eyes. I hope this has made you feel really nice and good in your body and a little calm in your mind. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.